Hey friends, welcome to my blog, or if you're watching this from YouTube, welcome to my YouTube channel. Thanks for reading, thanks for listening to me. I really appreciate it. Today, and welcome to my kitchen, by the way. So I usually don't do these things from my kitchen. I get to wear my special chicken apron today. I use any opportunity to wear this thing that I get. Today I want to talk about gazpacho. And aside from the fact that it is a fabulous word to say, I love saying that word, gazpacho. Gazpacho, which is cold soup that originated in southern Spain, it's a cold tomato-based soup. Not something I ever thought that I would like, but my husband and I were out to dinner in downtown Cleveland one evening, and I was feeling adventurous, and so I decided to try the gazpacho, and it was amazing. I've tried it a couple of other times. Every time I've tried it, it's been amazing. Every place makes it a little bit differently, but there's no place close to me that makes it because it's not something that's a super popular dish in the United States. So I decided that the best thing for me to do, because I absolutely love soups and this is a great refreshing soup for summer, I decided to start making it myself. And luckily, it has turned out fantastic every time I've made it, but there are some things that you definitely should not do if you want to have a fantastic or a great gazpacho. So the first thing that you should not do is get overwhelmed. I get cooking anxiety. So some of you who are not naturals in the kitchen like me, you may experience cooking anxiety if you look at a list of ingredients that's too long and you're like, I'm not cooking that. Or if there's too many steps in a recipe and you get nervous. So you might have cooking anxiety. And I struggle with this. I am not a natural in the kitchen. I'm a self-taught cook. So if you're looking at the ingredients that I posted on my blog for the recipe, or if you're looking at all the steps involved, don't get overwhelmed. Just take it step by step. Follow the steps. You'll be totally fine. You can do this. The second thing that you should not do if you want to make a great gazpacho is try to make it a half hour before you want to eat it, or a half an hour before your party, or whenever you want to serve it. So gazpacho needs time to sit, and so the flavors will meld together better if you allow it that time to sit in your refrigerator. It needs at least 4 hours. I also try and leave enough time to enjoy the process of making food. So I'm putting my love into this food, and if I'm in a hurry, I can't do that. So when I decide to make gazpacho, I love saying that word, gazpacho. When I decide to make gazpacho, I set aside about an hour and a half because that's how much time it takes for me to be nice and slow in the kitchen and follow all the steps the way I need to, and chop. It's a lot of chopping of vegetables and things like that. So I set aside at least an hour and a half, and then I typically don't plan to eat it until the next day because it needs that time to sit. And it's better the next day. The longer it sits, the better it is. The third thing that you don't want to do if you want to make a great gazpacho is use crappy tomatoes, or use canned tomatoes. Don't make that mistake. Now, at the end of the recipe, you will notice that you are supposed to put a jar of strained tomatoes in. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the first ingredient where you're supposed to use fresh tomatoes, and you're supposed to skin and seed them. Don't skip the fresh tomatoes. The ingredients in this particular dish, if you don't use the highest quality ingredients that you can find, it's not going to turn out the same. So don't skip that first step of finding really, really great tomatoes. Don't use canned tomatoes for this. It's not worth going to the trouble if you are not going to use really high quality ingredients. So find preferably locally grown, really nice tomatoes. And don't use canned tomatoes. The next thing that you should not do if you want a great gazpacho is use too little cucumber or too little parsley. So the difference between eating salsa, the difference between what you're doing and eating salsa with a spoon or actually making and eating gazpacho is, in my opinion, the cucumber, which that flavor will really come through, and the parsley. So don't skimp on those two ingredients. I actually tend to add more cucumber than the recipe actually calls for. And a little bit more parsley than the recipe calls for. Because again, I love salsa enough to spoon it out from the jar and eat it, but when I'm making gazpacho, I want it to taste like gazpacho. So definitely don't skimp on those ingredients. So anyway, those are my tips for things you don't want to do, and of course what you do want to do. If you make the recipe, I would love to hear from you. How did you like it? Do you enjoy the cold soup experience? So anyway, I hope that you all have a great day. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you make the recipe. It's super healthy, and it's super refreshing on a hot summer day. So I will talk to you all soon. Bye.